for some peace of mind, but TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat, and someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line, and Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Good morning, everyone. I know that this is September the 11th, the 24th anniversary, and I am going to have to report on the heartbreaking news of Charlie Kirk today as well. Let's remember to be kind to each other. I will try. I have found, fun stories too. We still have Final Form Jesus, and I will try to bring you happy, uplifting stories because even in the darkest of hours, there are always these, candles, these stars shining brightly to remind us that it's not all darkness. So, if you're struggling today, if your heart is heavy, if you're worried about this country, you're not alone. And we can have all of those things and still laugh at the absurd and still, try to bring kindness and enjoy these small little everyday miracles that maybe we ignore, like getting to enjoy the sunrise on a porch before it gets scorching hot, or getting to hang out with friends as we go over the news. So while I am going to have to cover some not so great stories and some heartbreaking things, let's also remember that, we have within our power to make someone's day a little better by maybe being kind, giving them a compliment, helping with something. So let's try to go out and go forth with some kind of kindness. It doesn't mean that we don't notice the things, that we can't be a little worried, that we can't be a little leery, but let's not live in fear. As you guys are probably all aware, Charlie Kirk yesterday was assassinated, and as of right now, and the latest stories that I can get, the person of interest that was captured very shortly after the incident was not related to the crime, and the gun person is still at large. I say gun person not because I have an issue with gunman, but I think that we need to acknowledge that this could just as likely be a female as a male, and we don't know anything more right now, so it seems very interesting that we thought we had the person, and it felt like a little bit of a sigh of relief that at least the person had been caught, but it turns out that was not the case. Charlie Kirk's assassin remains at large after a person of interest previously was released from custody, marking the second individual to be detained and let go by police scrambling to find the conservative icon's killer. The subject in custody has been released after interrogation by law enforcement. FBI Director Kash Patel shockingly announced on Wednesday evening. Now, I know that there are videos out there that purport to show the, assassin on top of a roof. I don't know. I unfortunately didn't realize that there was a farther view of the video and saw the closer video of the incident. And I'm not going to sit here and say that there should be trigger warnings on that. This is news. I'm a grown adult. I was looking for Charlie Kirk information And maybe sometimes we need the reality of how horrific these things are. Maybe we do need to be triggered and traumatized in order to finally stand up and say, enough is enough. This, whatever side you're on, whatever, beliefs you have, whatever you didn't like about Charlie Kirk, we can all agree that no one deserves to be targeted and assassinated in front of thousands of people like he was for what he said. Our investigation continues and we will continue to release information in the interest of transparency, Patel added. Now, law enforcement's stunning reversal comes not even 2 hours after Patel proclaimed in a tweet that Kirk's assassin had been captured, with law enforcement and Utah's Governor Spencer Cox holding a press conference moments later, announcing that security footage had led them to this person of interest. Now, the Post spoke to a mother of a now exonerated person of interest and described him as super shaken by the gruesome shooting that he had witnessed firsthand and then his subsequent detention. He's a great kid, the mother said. I have a picture of him. He's like 25 feet away from Charlie on the other side that he was shot on. He sent us a video. The man was a Charlie Kirk fan and had traveled to the Utah Valley campus Wednesday only to watch him get violently assassinated and then be blamed for it. He attended like any other college kid. He listens to him, his mother said. The person of interest that was the second detained and released since the 31-year-old was assassinated in Utah was released just after noon local time Wednesday. The first, an older man seen with his pants around his ankles was dragged away by police officers who told the screaming crowd that the men had confessed. Now that individual was also later cleared. And I'm going to break script a little bit. And this is not, again, I'm going to be really real with you guys. This broke me in a way that very few things break me. You guys know me. I'm not a girly girl. I hate crying. Emotions suck all the ball sack for me. And not to get too deeply into it because it's not about me. But I have walked the path that Erica Kirk is walking now. Not the same way, and blessedly, in full anonymity, that I didn't have video clips, that I didn't have, people putting their hot takes out, putting their celebration out of my husband's passing. But I did have 2 little girls I had to go home and try to explain when I couldn't make sense of it. Their dad was never going to be there. And for an instant, I was back in that, kind of cracked and dusty parking lot where I first learned the news. And again, this isn't to make it about me, but I have a full-on hate boner. And I say this because if you cannot step outside of your political ideology, your moral high horse for enough time, for just a day, to understand what this young woman is now standing in. Because it's not a quick pain. This isn't a quick glancing blow. I am 17 years on from this, and every big achievement in my daughter's life brings back just a slice of that pain. Because their dad isn't there. This family has been sentenced to a fate I wouldn't even wish on Sarah Boone. And the fact that some people's first inclination is to go on and make fun of this and kiki and ha-ha. I'm not a smart person. I'm a twice college dropout. I don't have the wisdom of the world. But gosh darn it, we do have a soul problem. I don't care if you're religious or not, but we have a heart problem in this country. If your first inclination is to dance around in the grief that's all around you right now, on either side. It's beyond disgusting. And it breaks my heart because 24 years ago, for a very short but incredibly heartwarming time, we were all connected. It took a tragedy. It took a trauma that we are still reeling with. But we were all together for just a terrible, terrible, and terribly short and heartbreakingly brief short period of time. When we saw people covered in dust coming out from those buildings, we didn't care if they were black, if they were white, if they were Christian, if they were atheist. We were just so goddamn happy that someone was coming out of those buildings. And 24 years later, we have people cheering that someone got assassinated. I don't know what to make of this. I wish I had answers. I wish I did. I wish I could give ourselves some sort of pathway to healing. So in my simple wisdom, and then bringing it back to me, that first year I don't remember, but I do remember the random acts of kindness I was showed. The people who were kind to me didn't know my story, didn't have to know my story, but were kind. So maybe if I have any answers today, it's to try to be kind. Because if we know your story, if we don't know your story, we're all going through something. And if we all connect our little circles of kindness, our little acts of kindness, then I truly believe that something bigger, something greater can happen. That's all I have to say about that. But 24 years ago today, September 11th happened in 2001. I was a senior in high school. I was actually mentoring at a middle school. And I remember thinking, what is going on? And then in kind of my self-absorbed teenage way, I was like, well, I mean, I guess we're watching the news during trigonometry, so no math. Again, I do acknowledge that that was the most selfish and self-absorbed teenage, reaction to this. And then I got scared. I got really scared because when I went home, my mom was scared. And everyone took kind of a collective breath. Everyone stepped back and looked at what was important to them. And maybe that reflection didn't last long, but maybe this will be another moment of reflection. And thank you, Tammy. I don't share because I want, sympathy right now. I hope everyone is praying for Erica and just wrapping their hearts around her. I say it as a person who joined a club that no one ever wants to join. The grief club sucks donkey balls. And, no one wants to join this club. And I guess it just bothered me so much that people were so willing to let their dark, impulses, their need to dance on the grave of someone else take over. And also the heartbreak, because I know what this young lady is now going to have to do. I know she's probably going to have years. She barely remembers. And if there's anything, if my small channel can get anywhere, if I can give any advice to her that will get there, don't punish yourself for however you have to survive these next couple years. If you have to go numb, if you have to not deal with this, if you have to just focus on your babies and you don't have the time to feel, it is okay. That's just my words of advice from one young mother and widow to another. Americans are marking 24 years since September 11th in 2001, attacks with solemn ceremonies, volunteer work, and other tributes honoring the victims. Now, many of the loved ones of the nearly 3,000 people who were tragically taken will join dignitaries and politicians commemorating in New York, at the Pentagon, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Others will choose to mark the day with more intimate gatherings. James Lynch, who lost his father, Robert Lynch, during the World Trade Center attack, said that he and his family will be attending a ceremony near their hometown in New Jersey and spending the day at the beach. I was wondering if they had maybe more things, more photos. It's one of those things where any kind of grief I don't think ever goes away. Lynch said as he and his partner and his mother joined thousands of volunteers preparing meals for the needy at a 9/11 charity event in Manhattan a day before the anniversary. Finding the joy in grief, I think, has been a huge part of my growth in this, he said. The remembrance are being held during a time of increased political tensions. The 9/11 anniversary, which is often promoted as a day of national unity, comes one day after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Now, at Ground Zero in Lower Manhattan, the names of the attack victims will be read aloud by family and loved ones in a ceremony attended by Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife, Second Lady Usha Vance. Moments of silence will mark the exact times when the hijacked plane struck the World Trade Centers and the iconic Twin Towers fell out of the sky. At the Pentagon in Virginia, 84 service members and civilians were killed when hijackers steered a jetliner into the headquarters. And the members of the U.S. military, along with the civilians, will be honored. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump will be attending the service held before heading to the Bronx for a baseball game between the New York Yankees and the Detroit Tigers. In a rural field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, a similar ceremony will be marked by moments of silence and reading of names, along with the laying of wreaths, and will honor the victims of Flight 93, the hijacked plane that was crashed after crew members and passengers tried to storm the cockpit. That service will be attended by Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins. Like Lynch, many people across the country are also marking 9/11 anniversaries with service projects and charity projects as part of a National Day of Service. Volunteers will be taking part in food and clothing drives, along with park and neighborhood cleanups, blood bank donation drives, and other community events. So, what I will say is that we should always remember these tragedies, but don't get mired in your remembrance today. Again, these community projects to bring light out of darkness is probably one of the most powerful things you can do. So today, if your heart is heavy, if your soul is crying, try to find something to do for someone else. Try to, try to look at something you can do to help someone else, from big to small. Once you start helping outside of yourself, it becomes its own reward, but it also reminds you that as much as I cover these very dark stories, there are 1,000,001 good stories, everyday miracles right in front of our eyes that we get too busy to remember, to notice, and take gratitude in. Reach out to friends, make sure they're okay. Sit down and listen if they're struggling. Let's make today a day that we reclaim some of this by doing something good. Let's bring a light to these dark clouds. In yet another story that I do not want to have to cover, but it is a breaking story, so we will be covering it. Again, this is fairly new, and I'm afraid that I got bogged down in Charlie Kirk and haven't really researched this story. I mean, no disrespect to the two teens that lost their lives. I guess I was overwhelmed. Thank you, Stinger Bell. I decided, well, I just didn't want to be me, so I decided to wear a wig since I'm putting them all up. To be honest, it just felt like a day where I didn't want to be Mo, if that makes any sense, which doesn't make any sense because I'm still Mo with a wig. A student is dead after taking the or shooting two teens at his Colorado high school and then taking his own life. A student who shot two of his peers on Wednesday at a suburban Denver high school has then turned the weapon on himself and passed away later. Now, the shooting was reported at 12:30 p.m. at Evergreen High School in Evergreen, Colorado, which is about 30 minutes west of Denver in the Rocky Mountain foothills. Now, a student shot two of his peers. Shots were fired both inside and outside of the school building, and law enforcement officers who responded found the shooter within 5 minutes of arriving, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office spokesperson Jackie Kelly said. Now, none of the law enforcement officers who responded to the shooting fired any shots. More than 100 police officers from the surrounding area rushed to the school to try to help, Kelly said. A 1999 school shooting at Jefferson County's Columbine High School killed 14 people, including a woman who died earlier this year of complications from her injury that she received in that shooting. Now, the teens were originally listed in critical condition. St. Anthony's Hospital CEO Kevin Colvin said that they were still in critical condition. However, by early evening, one teen was labeled in stable condition with what Dr. Blackwood, the hospital's trauma director, described as non-life-threatening injuries, but he declined to provide more details. And again, as this is a very fresh story, this is going to be, there's not going to be a lot of details. That's partially, I didn't think I could compose myself, but also you don't always get the best reporting. So that is why I didn't jump on to do a Charlie Kirk stream. I couldn't compose myself, and I didn't think that it would have been an effective stream. In another person we lost, but it is with fond remembrance and a life well lived that we remember this person that we lost. Polly Holliday, the last surviving Alice star, has passed away at 88 after a bout with pneumonia. Polly Holliday, known for her role as Flo in Alice, passed away at 88. The actress was the last surviving star of the beloved CBS sitcom that ran for 9 seasons from 1976 to 1985. Holliday passed away at her home in New York on Tuesday, September 9th, following years of health issues, her agent Denise Aspin told the New York Times. I believed her death was a result of pneumonia, she said, according to People. Now, the actress played Flo, the sassy character, in Alice for 4 seasons alongside Linda Levine, Alice, and Vic Tayback, Mel, Beth Howland, Verna, and Philip McKinnon, Tommy. Holliday left the sitcom based on Martin Scorsese's film Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore in 1980, but Flo's famous catchphrase, "Kiss My Grits," made her a breakout star. She continued playing Flo in her own spin-off series the following year, but it was short-lived and only lasted 2 seasons. Now, Holliday did earn 4 Emmy nominations for the role. The Alabama's native's notable acting gigs included playing Mrs. Dingle in the 1984 flick The Gremlins and Mavera in the 1998 classic The Parent Trap. She also had parts in Miss Doubtfire, Golden Girls, Home Improvement, to, name a few. She graduated from Alabama State College for Women, now known as the University of Montevideo, with a piano degree, later becoming a grade school music teacher, but always had a bit of the acting bug. I acted long before I knew what I was doing, she told Actors Equity. At age 19 in junior college, I joined the cast of a summer outdoor theater in North Carolina and called Unto These Hills Outdoor Drama Center. I was a choir singer, a square dancer, and an understudy for lead roles. That job paid room and board and about $40 a week. Dustin Hoffman gave Holiday her first break in 1974 when he directed her in her Broadway debut, All Over Town. The actor even helped her get a part in All the President's Men, which was a 1976 movie where she then was, suggested that she audition for Alice. Now she later returned to Broadway for Arsenic and Old Lace and was nominated for a Tony Award for her performance as Big Mama in the 1990 revival of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. So it seemed like she had a wonderful and full life with a lot of, just amazing achievements that, preceded her, and a life well lived and a calm, release into the universe or heaven or whatever you believe is all we can ever wish for. Now I want to go watch some Alice reruns after this. In a happier news, and we are going to take a gosh darn puppy kitten break so we can all get in a little bit of a better, a little bit of a happier segue. So puppy kitten break, we need a little bit of a reset palate cleanser.
When the world feels like a dumpster dive and humans forget how to thrive, take a break, just you and me, with a puppy and kitten, wild and free. Paws and purrs, let's drift away to a land where tails wag and play. No more noise, just gentle muse in our furry four-legged cruise.
Well, an emotional moment as a Texas family learns that they're expecting their first baby girl in 108 years. It was a huge surprise. A birth a century in the making, a Texas family is learning that its 108-year streak of giving birth to only boys will come to an end when they welcome a little girl to the brood next year. Michael Sherman Jr. and his wife, Jaquina Sherman, shared the exciting once-in-a-lifetime news with their relatives during a surprise gender reveal on Sunday. We didn't think it was quite possible for us to even have a girl, so I just knew that if we had another child, it was going to be a boy. So I was very surprised, said Jaquina. Now, Sherman Jr., a lieutenant in the Montgomery County Fire Department, was surprised by his wife with a large gathering at their home, which included relatives from around the country and a camera crew. I was just getting off shift that morning, and we had we had already had what was supposed to be a small gender reveal with very close family members. And going back to it, I took the blindfold off, and there's a camera crew. There's family from all over the United States, Sherman Jr. told the outlet. It was a huge surprise on top of me finding out that it was a girl, so it was pretty amazing. Sherman Jr. opened his eyes to the joyful screams of his loved ones when he found out he had snapped the girlless streak with his family had for over a century. His young son, Micah, held a cupcake with a pink ribbon, signaling the young family was expecting a girl, as his wife held up a pink napkin. I mean, these are the kind of everyday miracles, the joyous things that we need to hold dear in our heart. It's absolutely amazing. My daughters were the first girls for a long time in their father's family, so they were just tickled pink, quite literally, that they were getting a girl. I had to kind of tell them, hey, she can't wear all of these little clothes. Can we get them in some bigger sizes? She's going to outgrow them. But they were just so incredibly excited to have a little girl. So I know how this goes when you're in a family that hasn't had a little girl in a while. It's kind of overwhelming how excited people are for you, and how kind of, in a very loving way, but kind of overwhelming way, they go a bit overboard. Now, last time the Sherman family welcomed a baby girl through birth was in 1917 when Sherman Jr.'s great aunt, Ora Belle Sherman, was born. Now, Ora Belle was described as a trailblazer in Atlanta, heavily involved in the civil rights movement. Relatives hope that the future family member will follow in the footsteps of her ancestor. Sherman Jr.'s father, Michael Sherman Sr., reflected on the massive milestone his son and daughter-in-law were bringing into the family. It's like a monumental thing. I have 3 boys. My dad had 2 boys. His brother had 2 boys. So it's never been nothing but boys, 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 said Michael Sherman, the baby's grandfather. The unborn baby has already been welcomed into the family despite not making her appearance until March. And what a beautiful family, what a beautiful couple. She looks radiant. He looks so excited and a bit confused and bewildered at all the people in his home. I love her no matter what path she chooses. We will be with her. She's always going to have support here with us. I pray that she makes the right decisions in life and takes the right path, her great-grandmother Lydia Robertson told KTLT. I think Sherman Jr.'s 5-year-old son is also excited to meet his younger sister, who is due around March 11, 2026. I think he'll be a great big brother and a great leader. He's definitely looking forward to meeting his new little sister, the expectant father said. And yes, sorry, it is in Texas. Don't do this. I don't know who needs to be told this, but shame on this mother for encouraging very reckless and dangerous behavior. So I don't know who in the congregation needs to hear this, but we don't mess with wild animals. Not at Yellowstone, not at, Jellystone, not at any of the national parks, and not even in our home. You don't mess with wild animals. They're wild. Quit. National parks are a privilege for us to observe plants and animals in their natural habitat in the great outdoors. However, some people are bending the rules of these parks and putting their lives and the lives of animals at risk. A video from Torons of Yellowstone posted on Instagram, it looks like it's not loading up, shows a mother urging her daughter to go off trail to get closer to a very large elk. Don't do that. That's a dumbass idea. Elks are huge and they don't like people. They're kind of like Cusco from The Emperor's New Groove. Look, no touchy. I swear to goodness, does everyone need to see like life lessons from The Emperor's New Groove? No touchy. It seems like we should have had this, kind of down pat. In the video, the mother gestures for her daughter to move closer to where her mother and other tourists have gathered around off trail. Now the daughter stands off trail with a few other tourists, and when the daughter says no, the mother tries to convince her to get even closer by hiding behind a tree. Now eventually the mother relents. When your own mother tries to peer pressure you into being a Touron with her, but you know better, the caption reads, yay for this smart young lady. A Touron is a term used to describe a tourist who doesn't listen to rules and puts themselves and others in danger, a term dating back to the 1980s because it combines the word tourist and moron to make Touron. National parks like Yellowstone have clear set rules to protect not only the animals and ecosystems, but also visitors in the park. Animals that feel threatened can harm humans, which can lead to them being removed from parks, which can include being humanely killed by park managers for safety reasons. So you're not only putting your life in danger, but you're putting this elk's life in danger. Just dumbassery at its finest. Now, unfortunately, national parks are not staffed enough to help prevent all of these incidents. According to NPR, staffing at national parks is at its lowest point in the 21st century. Perhaps that's why we are seeing more and more of these Tourons, testing fate by getting very close to aggressive and dangerous and wild animals. There are plenty of videos highlighting tourists getting too close to elk, bear, and bison. When caught, tourists can face fines for breaking these laws. A couple was charged for stealing from a Utah park, and a hiker was charged with a violation for going off trail in Grand Teton National Park. So there there is some enforcement that is happening, but it's not staffed enough to catch all of these morons, which is upsetting. Because if there is nothing that grinds my gears or, makes me want to say kiss my grits more, it is rampant, utter stupidity mixed with entitlement, because the rules don't apply to you, do they, ma'am? No, they apply to everyone else. You're the special sunflake that gets away without doing the rules. And wonderful thing to do, Tammy Fayette. So, in summation, do not touch the wild animals. Be like Cusco. Look, no touchy-touchy. In something that Mo would most definitely do, and I'm glad that I'm an inside cat, so my stupidity is only limited to me being goofy on the internet versus boarding the wrong plane. Tunis, not Tunis. How two Americans accidentally flew to North Africa after a misunderstanding at the airport. Two young American women who boarded a plane in Rome, Italy, said they thought it was going to Nice, France, only to discover that the flight was actually destined for Tunis, the capital of Tunisia, a country in northern Africa. Now, they documented their apparent mishap in a series of videos on TikTok, which racked up tens of millions of views. This is how they say it happened. Brittany Diazelo and her friend missed their original flight from Rome to Nice, so they asked the airline if they could be booked on another flight to Nice. The pair were told they were going to use Tunisia Air, the national airline of Tunisia. So when they bought the tickets to Tunis, not Nice, apparently unaware the airline workers were misunderstanding that they wanted to fly to the French coastal city. They thought they wanted to fly to Tunisia. The women say they only recognized their error when they had boarded the plane and were informed by a fellow passenger that the flight was indeed heading to Tunis. "Is this going to Nice?" one of the women asked the passenger. "Tunis, yeah, actually," the passenger replied. "I thought you said Nice, which is in France, which is why you confused me." Now, Nice is pronounced Nice, where Tunis is pronounced Tunis. So apparently when they were saying Nice, it was somewhat comparable to Tunis, which when they explained phonetically how they pronounced it, it makes more sense how one could make this kind of mistake. Now, me, it would be that I just didn't read or I didn't pay attention and got into the wrong lane. Wait, where is this thing going? One of the women asked when she Googled Tunis on her phone. "Tunisia," the passenger replied. Now, the women told a flight attendant what was wrong, but they were told it was too late to deboard the plane and they would have to sort it out after landing in Tunisia. After spending several hours at an airport in Tunisia and having multiple conversations with airline personnel, they were finally able to get onto a flight to their intended destination. Diazlio posted an image of her friend posing in front of a fountain with the caption, "Nice, France." While her videos of their ordeal went viral, some TikTok commenters were skeptical that they had truly made a mistake. "This is hard to believe," one commenter wrote. "How did you not know the destination on the ticket? Did you not notice the big screen that said Tunis at the gate?" wrote another. "Did either of you look at your boarding passes?" Now, as a somewhat chaotic and, flighty person, I can confirm that if I am in a high pain day or a high anxiety, I might not pay attention to the small details or I might hyperfixate on them. So I could be as oblivious as anything or as focused as someone as Rain Man. I mean, it really is a spectrum. So, I say it sounds like it's possibly, something that could have happened. And we have come to Final Form Jesus with a story at the front that I think will, if not fully restore your faith in humanity, at least give you something to chuckle at on today.
The G-Keep Grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, Final Form Jesus return in wrath, with six-pack listening, sword in hand, He cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Now, petty respects petty. I don't have a hat, but sir, I doff my glasses to you because this is petty to the max. It is absolutely maladaptive coping behavior, but it's in the flavor that I approve of, so I'm kind of okay with it. A scorned man seeks revenge on his cheating ex in the pettiest way. If my husband ever cheats, I'm texting you for ideas. Who needs closure when you've got a mariachi band marching your ex out? A TikToker from Nashville is going viral for hiring a mariachi musician to musically troll his cheating ex as he packed up and fled their formerly shared apartment. Now, the content creator at Zachary period W posted a clip with the caption, "This is your sign to hire a mariachi performer while your cheating ex moves out." Okay, let me see if I can pull this up. I don't have TikTok, but I do have New York Post, and let me see if I can pull this up so we can actually hear the music. I'm going to have to change screens because I generally have this on a different setup, so I can just go from screen to screen to screen. So give me 1 second, but we should be able to hear this now. I'm getting so multi-talented, sort of. All right, let's see if we can listen. No, they had a... Where is the video? This is... Aha. Okay, wait. How do I talkinate it? Aha. All right, let's hope I don't get copyright struck. If so...
Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, oh, Guajira,
I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know what he's saying.
Hey, Guantanamera,
But I am
Guajira,
hiring a
Guantanamera,
mariachi band.
Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, oh, Guajira, Guantanamera, oye, ¿cómo va? Hey, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera.
That is pretty epic. Sir, I applaud you. I had never thought of getting a mariachi band, but now I want one desperately. It is? Okay, I don't speak Spanish. I did take 4 years of it in high school at the advanced level, but I have absolutely forgotten everything. I do know all of the aquanauts though, or octonauts. So, if you need the very special information of who all the octonauts are or the backyardigans, I can totally tell you. Anything else, I have kind of lost it in the intervening years of momhood. Now, in the video, Zachary can be seen sipping champagne while his ex, never shown by the face and shot from behind, clumsily hauls heavy items like a TV, which he drops mid-stress mariachi serenade. Now, nothing will distract and possibly irritate you more than Mexican folk music loudly played while you're trying to move out of a place. Cue the mariachi, Luis at Luis Estrevano, 48, a NASA retiree who moonlights playing a ukulele, trumpet, and singing, and is decked out in a classic outfit, oversized sombrero, ornate jacket, and matching pants, serenading the ex nonstop. Now, in the video, the performer is seen following the flustered cheater to a parked moving truck outside in the driveway, strumming and singing through the whole 46-second ordeal. The clip has since exploded with 5.4 million likes and over 26 million views. If my husband ever cheats, I'm texting you for ideas, one viewer commented, while someone else added, whatever you paid the mariachi performer, it wasn't enough. The best part is that he will think about this every time he sees a mariachi performer, one quipped. And some took notes on their own petty game. People on this app constantly reminding me that I'm simply not being petty enough. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen someone do to their cheating ex, another quoted. Believe it or not, hiring mariachi musicians to torment an ex isn't even the wildest way people have gotten revenge on cheaters. As the Post previously reported, influencer Alexia Losi caught her cheating boyfriend thanks to her Ring camera and got revenge in a seriously extra way. Thank you. Thank you. On an episode of the Unbothered podcast earlier this spring, she said she plastered hundreds of screenshots of the woman he cheated on her with in the guest room, on pillowcases, under and on top of the sheets, in every cereal box, and even on the effing toilet paper, so that his mom's friends and cleaner would all find them. The Post also covered a woman who got back at her womanizing ex, not by messing with his stuff, but by punishing his Netflix habits. On Reddit's R Petty Revenge, she spilled, "My ex cheated and we broke up, but apparently still felt entitled to my Netflix. He'd even created a new profile to watch their shows on my dime. Her comeback was pure petty gold. I didn't yell, I didn't revoke access, but I renamed the profile to Cheater and switched it to toddler mode, meaning no violence and maximum parental locks. Even Avatar was a sad cartoon monkey." So there you go. Don't mess with people. Don't cheat. It comes back against you. Now, in a headline that could only come from Florida, y'all, and I do mean only come from Florida. That being said, I am so glad that her puppers is okay, that she is okay. But this headline, y'all. A 70-year-old Orlando woman was left bruised and shaken after biting a pit bull to save her dog from an attack. Shirley Pasmanak was leaving the Plaza Tropical Supermarket in Orlando, Florida, when a pit bull randomly tried to attack her dog. A 70-year-old woman in Florida went to extreme lengths to protect her dog Sparky. On Monday, September 1st, Shirley was leaving the Plaza Tropical Supermarket in Orlando when a pit bull suddenly lunged at her 14-year-old dog Sparky, according to WESH2 and WBLT, and her own Facebook post. "It was just out of nowhere and bolted at us," Shirley said. "I did everything I could, but we ended up on the ground." Now, in footage shared by outlets, the woman is seen using a cane to hit the pit bull while the animal continued to try to attack her dog. After her attempts to fight off the dog failed, Pasmanak decided to bite the pit bull's neck, resulting in the dog stopping the ambush. "I couldn't open his mouth, so I bit him. I had to. I'm 91 pounds. I don't have strength." A man believed to be the pit bull's owner then was captured on closed-circuit television taking the dog away on a leash. "Grabbed his leash and walked away, didn't check on us to see how we were," Shirley said of the owner's reaction. Now, authorities are still trying to identify the owner, according to local outlets. People did try to contact the Orange County Sheriff's Office in Florida and the Tropical Plaza supermarket for comment, but they did not receive response by the time they had put this out. Shirley, who said she was disappointed no one intervened or tried to help with the attack, was left with bruises and bites on her leg, while Sparky also had bite marks. "They just stood there, and people are going to see it now, that you're cowardly," she said. Shirley also said that the pit bull needs to be put down following the attack. "Something has to be done. I was shaking for days after this happened." In a Facebook post, Shirley said that people should share the video of the attack to raise awareness. "This dog came out of nowhere, and I'm shaking every time I see it," she wrote in the comment. Meanwhile, Shirley told the local news that her dog has been a source of strength for her amid the attack and is the reason she gets up some days. You've got to take care of your dog. And this woman was, her dog's best friend. I mean, again, I know pit bulls, just like people, are, individual in a singular breed, but I can't ignore also that they are in a shocking amount of these kind of incidents. So maybe there needs to be a training law. Maybe there needs to be something to where we get these bad owners. like I said, I'm not a geniusologist. I'm not a dogologist. I don't know, but I do know that we have to stop ignoring these problems and actually have the tough conversations. Again, not with malice, not with assuming that anyone that disagrees with you has poor moral judgment, but with the aim to get some of these things solved. Some of these are solvable if we have the difficult conversations. Well, this one's from Oklahoma, but it does look like a particularly Florida kind of story if you know what I mean. An inmate was seen hanging from a rear window of a prisoner transport on an Oklahoma interstate. Cell phone video has captured an inmate hanging out of the back of window of a state prison transport van moving at freeway speeds in Oklahoma City last week on September 2nd, and this video was recorded by Tiggin Martin, who said that she spotted other video of incidents on social media. Now, the incident took place on Interstate 40, a nearly coast-to-coast highway that runs through the heart of Oklahoma City. Martin's video, verified by NBC News, shows. Now, in the video, the inmate, partially covered by an orange jumpsuit, faces traffic behind him and gestures to motorists. The rear window appears to have been removed or broken out, and the vehicle's brake lights can be seen as it moves onto the shoulder of the highway. Martin told NBC affiliate KFOR of Oklahoma City that she was recording the video as her sister was driving on the interstate. "Oh my God," both women say on the accompanying audio with some profanity thrown in. They express concern that the man might try to jump from the vehicle. One of the two men says, "Don't effing do it, bro." The sisters thought they were witnessing some sort of joke. Martin told the station, adding that the incident went by really quickly. It only lasted about a minute or two before they pulled out off the highway. Now, the driver and sister, Alex Martin, said she began to worry that the man would end up on the hood of her vehicle or that he might get struck if he jumped. You're driving and you're trying to pay attention to what you're doing, but you're kind of like, what is this guy doing? The State of Corrections Department said that the van was in the middle of a routine transport when the inmate damaged it and then started hanging out the back of the window. Our officers immediately recognized the situation, exited the highway, and called for additional law enforcement. This man was secured and the trip was completed without further incident. I need to see the body cam footage of this. Please, tiny baby Jesus, let there be body cam of this. Look, just for Friday, I think America, the world needs it. We need to see this absurdity. Please. Well, it's not extinct. A fisherman was nearly stunned to, well, faintness after catching a massive dinosaur fish that was thought to be extinct. After almost 40 years of absence from Ireland's water, the caviar sturgeon has made a sudden reappearance, the Irish Post can report. So it's not Nessie, but a sturgeon will do. It's no Bigfoot, it's a sturgeon. Declan O'Sullivan, skipper of the Portmangie trawler. Portmangie? I know that's a word because they wrote it, but what does it mean? I'm sure it's a type of boat or something. Like I said, not galaxy-brained over here, just human. Trawler, the Trinity, was the fortunate man who caught the 6-foot fish off the coast of Valentina Island in County Kerr. Not immediately recognizing the species, he took pictures and sent them to a marine biologist, Kevin Flannery, director of Dingle Ocean World. "I nearly fell over," Flannery told the Irish Independence. "To see this fossil species, this dinosaur fish, back in our waters is incredible. They were thought to be extinct here." Now, prior to this fish and the second specimen that O'Sullivan claimed to have seen just swimming out of reach, the last sturgeon caught in Ireland was in 1987 when one landed near Kish Lighthouse off of Dublin. The fish associated with royalty and prized for their caviar were hunted to extinction in the area. They had already mostly vanished by the 1970s. That's a tragic end to a story of a fish species that has survived more than 10 million years, making it one of the oldest fish species in the world. It has also meant the loss of a food resource that many enjoyed and relied upon for much of the history of the area. The return of this fish, even in small numbers, may signal that it's time to renew reintroduction efforts. The Irish Wildlife Trust and Blue Marine Foundation have put forward plans to make this a reality. So it does look like a good sign. And I did put this in there. Look, I'm no fishologist and I don't quite get all of the environmental implications, but it's a good story when, nature is healing itself and the fish are coming back. Again, I was hoping that we'd get like Bigfoot or Loch Ness to come back, but this is a good sign. In an interesting thing, and I'm not a big fashion person, but I am always intrigued at people who can take things from Goodwill and make a whole new creation. I'm hoping I only very, very slightly started dabbling in garment creation when I got hurt and stopped sewing. I'm hoping with Mr. Mo now working on my office and bringing up my sewing machines that I will be able to attempt my very bad, attempts at some Goodwill upcycles or something. Again, it's probably going to be a hot mess. I will wear everything that I make, even if it is a hot mess express. One man's trash is another man's couture. At least that's Evan Hirsch's philosophy. The 28-year-old Midtown based designer went viral on social media in March after he bought a $6 sheath from Goodwill and transformed it into a sparkly cocktail dress. He's now bringing his rework thrifted treasures to New York's Fashion Week. I mean, it's a cute dress. Kind of does still look like a tablecloth to me, but I mean, he did a good job. This Saturday, he will be presenting his latest collection, Found Opulence, a runway collaboration with a thrift nonprofit, featuring 30 looks all made from items sourced through its auction site, shopgoodwill.com, or local Goodwill stores in New York and New Jersey. They told me to go wild. His creations include a bedsheet that he's sewn into a strapless sheath dress festooned with fabric flowers, then paired with a matching overskirt. That still looks like a bed sheet, sir. Like, I like the ones where they make something incredibly different. Okay, that's kind of cute. I see what you did there. Look, and I will fully comment that I am no fashionista. I am much more comfortable and fashionable in my, t-shirts. That's kind of where I roll. Oh gosh, I loved Project Runway. I needed Tim to be like my fairy godmother in every social situation, coming in with like stern but criticism and ideas. Or when I'm being absurd, just one of them Tim looks like, I don't know how you're going to do this, but God bless you. And he's just like, make it work. So these might not be my jam, but it looks like they are other people's jam. And I do wish that we would take more time and appreciate what we have. Going through my closet and, pitching or donating things, not pitching. I always say pitching, but I end up donating. Putting a bunch of clothes for donation into a bag reminds me how much I really do have and, how much I need to be grateful for sometimes. And also, what was I thinking half the time? Well, we have finally cracked the code, though I would like to call BS because mosquitoes love my behind and I have never willingly drank a beer. Now, if it also works for hard cider, well, then I'm screwed because I like those. Beer can get you buzzed, and not in a good way. Dutch scientists have discovered that mosquitoes prefer the blood of people who have knocked back a few brews, among other habits. The team, helmed by Felix Hol of Radboud University in the Netherlands. Look, I am going to butcher the hell out of this Netherlands name. Sorry, mom duty, and that comes first. Just doing some question and answer. But I call BS because I have never drank a beer willingly. Look, to be fair, my introduction to beer was Natty Light in college. You know, you could get 127 cans for $5. So I have never acquired a taste for beer. Everyone would look at me and say, you know, it's an acquired taste. Well, if I have to acquire a taste for it, then beer like Brussels sprouts will forever be off my menu. Now, they set out to see why some people attract more mosquito bites than others. To get to the bottom of the mosquito's apparent predilection for red ale, researchers brought in thousands of female mosquitoes to Lowlands, an annual music festival in the Netherlands. Wait, so you biologically attacked a music festival with mosquitoes to study who gets stung or bit by mosquitoes more? This sounds like something that would not be allowed by government restrictions on, unconsentingly or using people without their knowledge as guinea pigs. In fact, they say these human guinea pigs then place their arms. Okay, so it looks like it was consensual. It looks like they brought them in boxes. They didn't just shake the box and release it. So that's good. These human guinea pigs were then asked to place their arm in a custom-made box full of the bloodsuckers that had teeny holes so they could smell but not bite, like a bizarro blood bank. Researchers then used cameras to record how many mosquitoes landed on their arm and for how long compared to the sugar feeder on the other side of the cage. The results were then analyzed against the volunteers' questionnaire answers. The team found that those who had imbibed brews were 1.35 times more attractive to mosquitoes. That wasn't all. These disease vectors were also more likely to target volunteers who had slept with someone the previous night, as well as people who wore less sunscreen or didn't shower much. So avoid mosquitoes, shower daily, wear sunscreen, and don't drink. And don't have the smexy time without showering. That being said, I do all of those things and I still get, it is like I owe the mosquitoes money. This is part of the reason I am an inside cat. I figure Mother Nature was letting me know that even the smallest woodland creatures don't like me or like me in a way that I don't like. That being said, there you go. Don't drink as much. Don't, go have the smexy time. And remember to shower. Stinkiness will draw mosquitoes. A thing I never thought I'd have to say, to be honest with you. Well, we have gotten to the time where unfortunately we are in the name and shame lordshipy, but this is much more of a name and shame. And again, I am working on dealing with feelings, but I find that being in the naming, shaming, kind of table flipping Jesus mode is much easier for me than the heartbreak mode. I know it is a maladaptive coping mechanism, but I don't have the Oprah around me to deal with this right now.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop lordshipy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Well, I mean, I just so happen to have my scepter with me. In fact, I have multiple of these. Yes, because when, Amazon pops up that they have Sailor Moon wands that turn into pins, but also extend to become semi-effective, pointing tools, I say shut up and take my money. But let's get to the naming and effing shaming. A mother who told relatives that she had sold her presumed no longer living 6-year-old to a woman at a Fiesta grocery store faces a new felony charge. Now, I would like to edit that headline. An incubator, because you have henceforth and forevermore been excommunicated from the mother club. You are now an incubator. You are no longer a lady. You are a female. You are a female incubator. Because a real mother would do none of this shenanigans. So ex-fucking-municated, okay? Don't test me today, sweet Pete's. I'm calling balls and strikes, and the wand never lies. The recently arrested mother of a long missing and sadly, heartbreakingly presumed no longer alive Texas boy is facing yet another felony charge in the Lone Star State. In late August, Cindy Rodriguez Singh, 40, was arrested on an extant charge of capital murder of a person under 10 years old over allegations which had been hounding the defendant for years. Singh is the incubator of Noel Rodriguez Alvarez, a 6-year-old boy who was disabled from Fort Worth suburb of Everman, who also disappeared without trace in the fall of 2022. Authorities soon determined that the child is likely no longer with us. Now, Singh indicated that the murder charge, or was indicted on the murder charge in October 2023, a little over 1 year after her son was last seen living. On Monday, a grand jury in Tarrant County handed up an indictment against the accused mother on an additional count of leaving a child without proper care. A spokesperson for the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office described the additional charge as in an email as a second-degree felony. Singh was already facing 2 counts of injury to a child and 1 count of abandoning a child without the intent to return, as law and crime previously reported. On August 21st, Singh was booked by authorities in Tarrant County. Sorry, 1 second. Lost my place. On the murder charge and 1 count of repeat offender DWI, jail records show. Her apprehension came less than 1 month after she was added to the FBI's most wanted fugitive list, becoming the 537th person to ever earn that distinction. Since November 2022, various witnesses have told law enforcement versions of stories always sourced from Noel's incubator, purporting to account for the beloved little boy's whereabouts. Those accounts and concerns put the Singh family on law enforcement radar, but charges were not filed until much later. Then the family left the country. Law enforcement learned that Rodriguez Singh had boarded an international flight with a layover in Turkey, with India as her final destination. Just 2 days before an Amber Alert was issued for Noel. Joining the defendant on that flight were 6 other children of hers, plus her current husband, Arshdeep Singh. Now, several authorities, such as human trafficking, have supported the notion that the boy might still be alive. But the police cautioned that those avenues of inquiry were quickly discarded and replaced by the belief that this little boy lost his life at the hands of his mother, or incubator. Now, his body has yet to be found. The cause of his presumed death remains unclear, and a potential motive is similarly elusive. Though occult-oriented explanations may feature in the criminal trial. Overall, physical evidence in the case has been non-existent. And this is a case where I do wonder how and why they got an indictment if there's not a lot of evidence beyond pure speculation. Look, I don't like what this woman did any more than y'all do. It makes me enraged. But I also don't like that she is in jail right now on very little, substantial, circumstantial, or concrete evidence. I want them to do this right. So if this woman did this, she doesn't get an appeal. They don't cock up the case beyond all recognition. So I hope they're able to find something, because it is folly to make these charges if you just have speculation, if you just have, Occam's razor. That's great, but you need evidence in our courts. I don't want our courts to be, as emotional as I am. I want them to use facts and logic. Now, Noel suffered from a host of ailments that required attention and patience. He had not been seen for months by the extended family by the time that law enforcement came involved. When initially contacted by police about her vanished son, Rodriguez Singh said that the child had been living with his biological father in Mexico since November 2022. Now, detectives later learned that that was not true, and the boy's father had been deported before and has never even met his son. Eventually, all signs pointed to intentional homicide. There is a concurrent civil case filed by Child Protective Services in Texas, according to a Dallas-based Fox affiliate, KDFW. This case aims to terminate Singh's parental rights over her 6 other children. Now, last week, Singh appeared in family court for a hearing on that sealed dispute. The defendant's next court appearance for her criminal case is slated for September 18th. She is currently being detained in the Lon Evans Correctional Center on a $10 million bond. So again, I hope that they have the case, that they dot their T's, that they dot their I's, cross their T's. I hope that they do that, because if we are just jailing this woman because there's a hunch, there's a suspicion, I'm going to be really pissed off. In another heartbreaking story, maybe more heartbreaking just because of the everyday, interaction that was going on, getting your family, a treat, a snack, a dinner at McDonald's. Shot twice in the heart, a man threw himself in front of his fiancée after a confrontation at the McDonald's drive-thru led to a fatal shooting. A 21-year-old California man allegedly killed another man and injured a woman in a shooting in a McDonald's drive-thru in Los Angeles. Humberto Delgado stands accused of involuntary manslaughter in the death of 36-year-old Feliciano Felix Curel, according to Los Angeles Police Department. Now, Felix's family explained in a GoFundMe post that he and his fiancée, Karen Gonzalez Molina, had spent the night celebrating their engagement when they decided to stop at the East Hollywood McDonald's to grab a bite to eat. Now, while in the drive-thru, Delgado accused the couple of hitting his car. The couple disputed his claims, stating that their car had a sensor which would stop it from striking anything. "Where's the damage?" Felix asked Delgado in a video Gonzalez Molina showed to the CW affiliate KTLA. Now, Delgado allegedly got out of his car and started arguing with them before Felix got between his fiancée and the suspect. Felix threw himself in front of Kieran to protect her. He was shot twice in the heart and died a hero at only 36 years old. And while you're praying for Charlie Kirk's wife and the victims and survivors of 9/11, keep this hero's fiancé in your heart and mind too. To be there at that actual moment to see it happen is a trauma that, again, I wouldn't wish on anyone. So please keep her in your thoughts and prayers, because I can't imagine. Gonzalez Molina was also shot in the leg. "He shot me too," she said in the video. "What the F?" Paramedics rushed Felix to the hospital, where doctors tried the best they could, but unfortunately, he was pronounced dead. Now, according to Felix's family, Delgado called the cops around an hour later and reported the shooting, claiming self-defense. And howdy, Santiago. But how is this self-defense when there was no accident, no weapon, and no threats of violence, the family wrote. Now, police arrested Delgado on the voluntary manslaughter charge. He is currently at the Los Angeles County Jail on a $100,000 bond. Felix's family members said that they're raising funds to pay for the costs associated with burying him in Mexico next to his mother, who sadly passed from COVID. So just a line of family tragedies, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Well, I mean, this face does kind of, as Megan Fox would say, this woman has the sex scandal face going. Most deadly bullets on the planet. An election official unalived her tenant after searching for information about force multipliers and hollow point ammunition. A Connecticut landlord and former GOP elected official will spend several decades behind bars for admittedly taking the life of her tenant. In late June, Ellen Wink, 64, was convicted on 1 count each of murder and criminal lockout by a Stamford County jury. On Tuesdays, prosecutors announced that the defendant was to be sentenced to 50 years in state prison by Superior Court Judge John F. Blolly. Now, Blink faced a maximum sentence of 60 years behind bars. She had previously turned down a plea deal that would have foregone a trial in exchange for a 40-year sentence over the death of Kurt Lamita, 54. Now, on January 20th, 2022, Wink killed Lamita by repeatedly shooting the man inside the property he rented from her on Nielsen Avenue in Norwich, a medium-sized city considered part of the New York City metropolitan area. Now, the woman's factual culpability was never in doubt. In her initial 911 call, Wing told the dispatcher that the victim had lunged at her. In the police interview at the scene of the crime, Wink admitted to being the one with the gun. During the trial, Wink continued to claim self-defense, and she argued she was suffering from extreme emotional disturbance. You would have to be to do what you did to this man, but it's not like an unintentional giveaway, Sarah Boone. Your emotional disturbance does not give you the right to do anything to anyone else. Can we repeat this? Can we make this a hymn? Your emotional bullshit doesn't mean you get to be an asshole. I need to make a jingle. I need to make a stinger that says that. But could we all in this congregation and moving forward, America, humanity, the world, your emotional whatever you're dealing with does not give you the right to be a dickhead. Say it loud, say it proud, and amen. And when she repeatedly squeezed the trigger over and over. Now, in the end, jurors rejected the killer's claim and sided with the state. The defendant had long been on pretrial release after a seesawing dispute over bond. She was taken into custody after the guilty verdict. Now, Wink's bond was originally set at $1 million, an amount that was then, or $1 million, which was then raised to $2.5 million after a different judge watched cell phone video of the shooting the court described as quite graphic. The state had originally asked for a $5 million bond, framing the video as proof, positive evidence that Wink committed the murder and was never in danger. Now, the video would later prove instrumental during her trial, according to courtroom reports by regional cable channel News 12 Connecticut. The footage was taken by Lamenta himself. He had secretly filmed his own demise as Wink entered the residence to remove items from the refrigerator because she wanted to clean and sell the property. Lamenta complained about the intrusion. "That's ridiculous," he said on the video played for jurors. "Every day you're going to come in and throw people's stuff away?" The man's cell phone was in his hand at the time of this. Quickly, 2 shots are heard ringing out. "You bastard," Wink says after firing her weapon. Then she fires again 3 more times. Then she shouts at her victim. "Get out," the woman raged as the body dropped to the floor, along with the cell phone camera that recorded the whole incident. Get out of my house, get out of here." Wink continued to berate the dying man. "Do you think I'm effing with you? Do you think I'm effing with you? Knock it off, you F. I'll give you a nice F off." Now, the landlord-tenant dispute between Wink and Lamenta had been simmering for months. Wink wanted Lamenta out due to an incident involving a dispute with a third tenant. So this started in August 2021. In September 2021, Wink was arrested for allegedly locking him out of his house and throwing away his belongings. Next, in November of 2021, Wink turned off Lamenta's heat and electricity, one police officer testified during the trial. After that, in January 2022, Wink performed several internet searches regarding force multipliers and hollow point ammunition. Jurors heard another investigator explain. 10 days before Lamenta was killed, Wink accessed an article titled "Bang, 5 Most Deadly Bullets on the Planet." Now, Wink was a Republican deputy registrar for Norwalk when she was arrested and lost her job immediately after being charged, as you would. That being said, I am politically homeless. I will call balls and strikes on both sides. We are not an inherently political morning show. I generally shy away from it, but I will call balls and strikes, and I will, tell the truth when it's there. Well, I mean, in things Mo is never gonna do, paragliding is probably one of the top tens, along with a burpee ever again. A paraglider claims to have almost died thanks to a careless piece of litter. I spotted something drifting across the sky. It looks like a balloon. I don't know. Look, I'm not a scienceologist or a flyerologist, so I'm not quite sure why that would be terrifying for him. This paraglider had to handle some high stakes inflation, but not in the way you think. A 27-year-old named Michael recently faced what would be most people's nightmare while doing any activity in the air. In a viral TikTok video with over 4 million views, shocked viewers can see the moment when a large number 6 balloon drifted into his path during a motorized paraglider nearly getting caught in his equipment that could have caused him to crash. Shortly after takeoff, I spotted something drifting across the sky, Michael told the Daily Dot. At first, I thought it was another pilot, then maybe a big bird, but as I got closer, it turned out to be a rogue number 6 birthday balloon. The risk taker explained to the Daily Dot while he saw something drifting in the sky with him, he thought it was another pilot or a bird. It wasn't close until he got, much closer that he realized it was a balloon. Things took a dangerous turn when he tried to catch the balloon with his feet. The string becoming, okay, well, you engaged with the balloon, sir. It's poor manners that people let the balloon just fly, but you also decided to go over and inspect and investigate the balloon. So this seems like half a dozen of one, six of the other. He told the Post that he's been paragliding for 6 years and has never experienced anything as wild as a balloon getting, its tail getting stuck in his lines. Most of the time, my flights are calm and filled with beautiful scenery. He said the craziest thing I'd experienced until now was when some cows stole my equipment. I had to run nearly 2 miles to chase them down and get it back. Luckily, I landed safe and sound, ballooned in tow, he told the outlet. It now lives in my living room. I've even painted a little balloon kill marker on the side of my paraglider as a tongue-in-cheek trophy. And while this is the first time that Michael has had this terrifying experience, commenters on his video pointed out how it's common for balloons to get stuck in random places. One thing that's really stood out from the responses is how many farmers commented on helium balloons ending up in their fields and harming livestock. It's highlighted just how much of an environmental hazard these balloons can be. While Michael was able to land safely, other airbound adventurers have not been so lucky. Back in June, an experienced 48-year-old skydiver passed away when she knocked into another diver's parachute right before landing in Georgia. Now, during the accident, Jasmine Black tried to cut away her parachute to deploy the emergency one, but it didn't launch because she was so close to the ground, which caused her to, fall precipitously. Well, I decided why not look up the last meals of some crazy serial red rummers? Because why not? It's just the kind of thing I would look up, To be honest with you, it is the kind of thing I would look up. It's the kind of thing that makes my noggin jog if you catch my drift. If you get me, you get me. 1 second. Oh, for the love of Cheetos. I hate emojis. I don't know how Baker's able to multitask. I have lost the ability. And I used to believe that women could fairly well multitask just because of the way we're created. I now realize I either hyper focus or don't focus. Let's see, for John Wayne Gacy, what was his last meal? We kind of all know who he is, so it says one of the most notorious serial killers in history who was active in the Chicago area in the 1970s and had at least 33 victims. Let's see what his last meal was. His last meal was an entire bucket of KFC chicken, 12 fried prawns, a pound of strawberry, French fries, and a Diet Coke. The only thing I agree with is Diet Coke, although I pledge my allegiance to Coke Zero. Oh, heck yeah. It's a squirrely kind of day, you guys. Let's see, Ted Bundy. What did Ted Bundy eat? Ted Bundy, a serial red rummer who kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered at least 30 women and girls in the 1970s. We kind of all know the story. What did he eat? So he declined to choose, so he was given a standard last meal provided at Florida State Prison: steak cooked medium rare, eggs over easy, hash browns, toast with butter and jelly, and juice and milk. Ugh. I have to be in like a very special, well, first of all, I have to have Oreo cookies to drink milk. I am the worst, pickiest eater, y'all. Let's move on. Eileen Warnos, a red rummer who unalived six men, uh, robbed them and took their lives, possibly a seventh, while working as a lady of the evening in the 1980s. Now, she decided to decline the last meal and just have a cup of coffee. Gary Rabels was a vicious serial red rummer who murdered six men along the East Coast, targeting older gay men. 3 hamburgers, dude. Well, he had 3 hamburgers, bacon, and French fries. To be honest, this is a meal I could agree with, although I would do 1 burger. I can't eat 3 burgers. That being said, I don't know that I would want to be like full and in a food coma right before I passed away. But I guess if you know it's coming, maybe you want to be in a food coma. I don't know. These are the things I think about and argue with among myself in the wee hours of the morning when I can't sleep. Oscar Ray Bolin was convicted of taking the life of multiple young women in Florida in the 1980s. So let's see, he's my last one we're going to cover today. He had a medium rare ribeye steak, baked potato with butter and sour cream, salad with iceberg lettuce, cucumber and tomato, baked garlic bread, lemon meringue pie, and a bottle of Coca-Cola. So there you go. That's kind of an okay meal. I don't know, maybe I'll do streams where I make last meals and eat them. Although I'm not a big coffee person, so. Well, in glorious news, America, we now have our own pygmy, hippo. So the cute, squishy pygmy hippo, you know, of Mugan, we now have our own. We've got a baby. Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was the baby, but apparently we got to see the birth. So there you go. It's a miracle. But we have baby, pygmy hippos. You have no idea if my HOA would allow me, I would totally get one of these, even though they're probably like one of the most terrifying animals. That being said, the John Ball Zoo in Michigan announced the birth of a pygmy hippo calf, the first of its species to be born in the history of that facility. The Grand Rapids Zoo said on social media that the 11-pound calf was born Wednesday to first-time parents Penelope and Jahari. The post said the birth was a historic moment as this is the first pygmy hippo calf born in the zoo. Pygmy hippos are an endangered species with fewer than 2,500 estimated to be, functioning in the wild. So each birth is a vital step for conservation, officials wrote. Our animal care team is keeping a close eye on mom and baby as they bond behind the scenes, and both are doing well. Mu Dang, a pygmy hippo born last year at the Khao Keo Open Zoo in Thailand, took the internet by storm, becoming one of the top TikTok trends of 2024. Let's see. And she celebrated her first birthday in July. Oh, where? Well, in our final story, because, I always tell you guys to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but keep a sassy mouth. Well, this is one of those things you need a sassy mouth for. Brazen thieves are walking into hotels and enjoying the complimentary buffet breakfasts and getting away with it. So they're bagel and running, they're eggs over easy and dashing, they're serial thieves. It's not just guests who are taking advantage of the complimentary hotel breakfast. A growing number of people off the street are purportedly waltzing into establishments to snag a free meal. An entire Reddit thread of freeloaders are boasting about stopping by hotels for free breakfast without booking a room. Enter any mid-class hotel, except example Hampton Inn, Holiday Inn, Days Inn, Right around the time they start serving breakfast and the hotel lobby is empty, bragged one. Most hotels of this class serve free breakfast. This is some dumpster human behavior. Now, I get if you're starving, but to be all proud and to put it out there, stop. Stop. This is entitled stupidity. This is a Turon moment. Don't do this. This is dumb. If you need help, ask someone. People are generally willing to help. Don't be an entitled douchebag. So there you go. People are stealing continental breakfast just when oh, well, I guess we've got one last one because, oh, my Bob Ross. Maybe Justin did this to heal something in humanity, but for no reason I can ascertain, Justin Bieber is riding a Segway in nothing but his underpants, as you do. Justin Bieber is letting it all hang loose in his tidy whities while out for a carefree Segway ride on a dirt path. The Yukon crooner took to Instagram Wednesday to share videos and photos of himself cruising around without shoes or clothes on, as you do. He flashed a mischievous look at a camera as he carefully made his way down a hill in nothing but Calvin Klein boxers. Again, just a normal Wednesday in Indiana. Minus the Segway, we have quad bikes, but kind of normal, or lawnmowers, really. Now, Bieber didn't caption the post, but fans were quick to comment on the footage. So they were all ecstatic. Now he's wearing, look, I don't really know Justin Bieber. I don't know what he's going through, but possibly don't ride a Segway in your underpants. Or your pants. Look, Justin, I'm a pray for you. It looks like you have something going on. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into a semi-nude, nearly nude Segway ride, but I just wouldn't post this stuff. That being said, at the end of the day, for those of you who still have a heavy heart because of what happened yesterday and what happened 24 years ago, the only wisdom I can grant you, and it's small and it might sound trite and it might sound like one of those just folksy wisdomisms that I do, but spread kindness today. If your heart is getting heavy, if you are definitely down, go try helping someone. Get out of yourself, get out of your mind, and do something good. We can't erase darkness all the time, but we can definitely be the candles or the stars that shine on the darkest night. So that's my final thoughts, just like Jerry Springer or Oprah. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat any day, but especially today. Protect yourself, try to spread kindness. Do it with sarcasm because I'm okay with kindness and sarcasm that's a little dark, a little funny, but just, let's do something for others today and spread a little bit of kindness and check in on your friends. Check in on people, make those connections because we never know. And it was pointed out quite starkly on, live video. We never know when we won't get a chance to say goodbye. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. I am directing you to Megan Fox. I will be heading over there to cover the Tim's trial. It is an incredibly difficult case to watch because it involves a young baby with actual documented medical problems being taken away on allegations of abuse and doctors colluding together to obfuscate the actual medical issues that were wrong with this child in order to push. I don't honestly know what's going on with these people. There's something wrong with some people, but it is a terrifying case, and Megan is shining the light on this. And there is another case coming in Florida that's almost exactly the same. So shedding light out there, liking, supporting. If you're a lurker, if I could please ask for your humble, just putting an emoji or something in the chat. YouTube has decided if you're a lurker, you don't count, but hashtag lurkers matter. So I know it's not the easiest thing to hop into a chat, but I would sincerely appreciate if you feel compelled on your own volition to put a little something in the chat or, an emoji, something, because YouTube has decided that if you are a lurker, they only count people in chat for reasons that I think are a little bit slimy, but we love the YouTubes. Yeah, yeah, we love the YouTubes. They're just they're just 10 pounds of crazy in a 2-pound sack. Yes, hashtag lurkers matter. Thank you all so much. I did fix this semi sort of. Again, my tech skills leave everything to be desired. But if you find it in your heart, or you actually think someone might like Final Form Jesus or some of the clips that come from this show, uh, please, share this out. We are on the March on Weird to 6K.
It's your girl Mo stumbling to 6K. Snark on parade in the most awkward way. Not glamorous, not slick, just petty with a mic. Grifted one sub at...
Caught me. Yes. Mama Mo has a vice. But I haven't welded a killdozer, so give me grace, y'all. Bye. I'm going to see you on Megan. I am redirecting you there. Have a lovely day. Take heart. Do something that makes you smile and reach out and make someone else smile. That's my wisdom. It's small. It's not big. But small things can become a mountain. Little grains of sand can become a mountain. Bye, you guys. Don't forget to carry your bitch fire, though, because we're kind, but we take no prisoners. Allegedly in Minecraft. Bye, you guys.